The views and opinions expressed on Live at the Barbershop are entirely those of the host, guest, and caller and do not reflect the opinions of Live at the Barbershop or its staff. Viewers' discretion is advised. The following podcast is intended for mature audiences only and contains adult contents, graphic language, strong sexual content, and a whole lot of shit talking. So in other words, get your kids out the room.
Live, here we go at the Barbershop with your hosts, Misha J, Aaliyah, Black Republican, and those two crazy Caribbean guys from the Q&N show, Norris and Q. And now, the man of the hour, Mr. HNIC, Mr. Sleep When You're Dead, Hustle Now, the Magnificent.
Yo, son. What's up with all that?
I was just trying to amp it up, you know, like...
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, all right, I'm with that.
John, live at the Barbershop Podcast.
Friday night, welcome back. Got an interesting show for today. Yeah. I've been waiting on this individual for a while. We've been crossing paths. We've been about, I'm going to say about 2 months in the making or so. About 2 months or so in the making because scheduling and different things of that nature. But yo, he's finally here and I'm glad to have him here. We have a lot of interesting talks at night pertaining to things from this particular book. Yeah. And just when you thought you had it bad, you find out someone else has it worse. Yeah. And that's why sometimes you need to count your blessings on whatever you have. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You never know how it is for the next person until you step in that person's shoe. So this book was an interesting read because it relates to a lot of us in its own ways. Yeah. On a day-to-day struggle of just getting through this thing on this planet Earth, between dealing with family members, dealing with work, school, just a day-to-day movement.
Yeah, it looks like a day-to-day.
It's just a day-to-day movement, but you find strength in odd places and with odd people that you didn't think that you would. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let me get this thing started. My name is John. I'm the host for the night. Sitting next to me is my man Q. You know how I do when I say how you do.
What's up?
What's the deal?
I'm here, man. It's a beautiful night, man.
I got my man Black IT in the building behind the boards. What up?
What up?
There it is. All right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let me bring the author. But before I bring the author, let me just point the book out. Put it up on, roll that beam footage. Let me see that book right there. All right. The book is called The Boy from the Ditch. Author, Dennis Turner. You can find this book on, let me do the shameless plug. You can find this book on Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
So drop it in your cart for Christmas. Pass it along to all your friends and let them know Dennis Turner is in the building. Dennis Turner, author of The Boy from the Ditch. What it do? How you do?
What's good, fellas?
What's good?
Man, I'm telling you, man, I love to be in the barbershop, baby.
All right. See, man, like I was saying, man, this has been a long time coming. Me and you've been chopping it up for it gotta be about 2-3 months. Gotta be about that, right?
It's been a minute.
Something of that nature, right?
Yes, sir.
So interesting because Mississippi, everyone knows Mississippi from, back in the day, AMI, Crooked Letter, and all that. You know what I'm saying? But I never knew of this one place. And when I read the book, I'll be honest with you. Reading the book in the beginning, I had a visual in my mind of where this place was, and it kind of took me into a color purple time frame.
Yeah.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
until I realized we were in the 90s. And it threw me for, I mean, I'm talking like 80s going into the 90s. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know in the 90s, we was like Humpty Humpton and we was like, you know, doing all the regular things everybody else is doing out here in the United States, not realizing that the place now, I want to make sure I'm getting the pronunciation of it. Tunica.
That's right, Tunica
Okay.
County. Yeah.
Tunica County, Mississippi. Okay. I'm going to let you tell the story of Tunica. And there's portions from the book because, of course, we couldn't, you know, go through the vast amount of things that from front to end on the book. So we picked out small little detailed things that stood out for us. Okay. But I'm going to let you tell the story of Tunica County, Mississippi. And I found this interesting with the quote from Jesse Jackson that said it's America's Ethiopia. That was very interesting to me because, like I said, this story blew my mind. That I was out partying and having a ball, you know, while you were going through your journey. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yeah, I want to say something, man.
Yeah.
The introduction from the poor, from the ditch. I don't think it's that because I'm over here getting chills from it. It's something different. The boy from the ditch. Know what? CEO, author, producer, motivational, inspirational speaker, man of God.
Yeah.
Because I'm a believer, man. And this part of it is just giving me chills.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how many times you mentioned God in the book. So it's also a Bible to me. What God has done for you, bro.
Hey.
I'm getting chills.
Mercy.
You don't even know how many times you mentioned God in that book, man. I'm telling you. You're gonna
That's
say,
my source, man. That's my source. That's my
source.
strength.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you tell the story. Let's find the journey of the boy from the ditch.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and put a plug. It's a little older than what you said. I'm a little older than you think. That was more like the 70s.
Okay.
70s, yeah, it was more like the 70s, and when the national attention was brought to this place called Sugar Ditch, man, that was actually in 1985.
Okay.
And I was listening to you when you was like, man, I was getting a vision. I was thinking, I'm like, did I send him the clip? Because I wanted him to actually see. Because they got footages, man. It's like people was like, oh my gosh, people living.
You need to
like
send
that?
me that. You need to send me that.
Definitely, man. It's a 1985 clip. It's gonna look like it, but you're gonna see. You're gonna be like, oh my god, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was man, my journey, and what's so crazy is I'll tell people this all the time when I go to speak. I say, listen, what you see in 1985 is the aftermath. It was worse than the 70s.
Whoa.
Wow.
It was worse. And so, and what's so unbelievable is people were paying rent to live like that.
Whoa.
To live like that. So, the story that was told to me is basically the town of Tunica, which was predominantly black, but ran by majority white.
Right.
They were trying to get a grant for the downtown, and news people was coming in to do an interview and interview the mayor in different places, because they wanted to get this grant to do some things in the downtown area. Well, some of the individuals in Tunica got wind of it, black, and they tipped off the media to what was happening right behind downtown, which was this place called Sugar Ditch, the poorest place that in America, as it came later to be known as the poorest place in America. And the media was like, oh my gosh. So when they went back there, they started getting footages. And when they did that first news cycle, it caught fire across the country. The Washington Post picked it up. New York Times picked it up. 60 Minutes did the special, came down and did a special. It was all over local news. It was a big embarrassment to the state of Mississippi as well as the county of Tunica. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, that's really, to me, that was really the story that was told, how it got exposed to the media and how it got exposed to the world. Even to the point, BT News did a story on Oprah Winfrey she did an interview, and she did a story on it and had someone from there that was on the show. Matter of fact, when I released my book years later, that same guy that was on Oprah Winfrey's show, he called me, and I was like,
okay,
yeah, he got it. I'm like, how you get my number? But he called me, and it's so crazy because at this time I was living in Memphis, and how he got my number was, man, this is so crazy. I had one of his nieces in my class. Like, I didn't even know. And so she came and she said, Mr. Turner, I heard about your book, da-da-da. And she was like, my uncle is this guy. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so, we ended up chopping it up. We ended up talking and, catching up. And, turned out his family knew my family, like our older siblings and stuff. And so it was wonderful, just catching up. But man, the dude had an opportunity, man. He was like, man, Oprah Winfrey told him, write your story, man. I'll produce it. But he was like, I'm not a writer. I was like,
you need to talk about it.
Get that over to my side, But man, the story is basically Tunica, man. It was a very, very poor town, predominantly Black. The education system was bad. We had two education systems. Public system was for the Blacks. Right. They had a quote unquote private system for the white. Now, what I'm told is that private system was being funded by public funds at that time.
So that means now the rest.
So the Black school is getting secondhand books. And so they're calling their institution a private school when it was being funded by public funds. A lot of those things was going on, and so the education system was pretty bad, man. I can tell you that growing up there, man, was a lot going on with me, my family. Even though we was able to get off the ditch when I was very young, I was still young, but man, just things that still carried over. And I talk about, I try to go through the story of my life because as so many young people, man, African-American kids deal with this kind of thing, and they grow up with low self-esteem. They grow up with no confidence. It's like they're lost. Right. And I want my story to be a light, to brighten the path for some of these young people, man, to know, hey, man, I get it. You grew up without this. I get it. You was born without that. You had to make do with this. I know about those government cheese sandwiches. I know about, you had a wish sandwich. I wish I had some meat between it because I understand all that. And people look at me like, man, you don't look like you missed a meal in your day. Hey, man, that's called grace. Grace.
Hey, hold on. Whoa. Let me pause out for a minute now. I love that government cheese. The best cheese I ever had. To this day, I wish I could get that box back. So leave the government cheese out of it because I love it.
Hey, man, that was some good stuff, wasn't it?
It was the best cheese. Listen, Kraft and all that can't touch it. I don't know where they got it from, but man, they need to bring it back. That's for sure.
I'm telling you, man. But hey, that kept you from going hungry many of nights, man. Yeah. Many of nights, So I understand. I really, and I want them to know that, hey, you're not going through this thing alone. Right. Many have walked in your footsteps before you. There's a blueprint now has been laid. Success still is in your reach, right. And so I try to tell them, it's not how we start, man. It's not where we get our beginnings at. It's not. I tell people, relay races, man. We deal with relay racing, and you ever see relay races where they are staggered? You can be the one at the bottom, but you can make that turn. You can come up. You can catch up and come to the head and not be the tail.
Right.
You know, and you know, a lot of this goes to you know, the trauma we may experience. Because you know, when you growing up in poor communities, man, let's just be real.
Yeah.
The element in the poor community is gully, bro. It's gully.
Yeah.
You get it. You see things that you shouldn't see.
Yeah.
You know, what if it's dead bodies?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
You see things you see. What if it's, you know, somebody getting murdered? Somebody, you know, somebody is being mistreated. I can go on, man.
Yeah, I know that road. Yeah.
But it's and so some of those things, man, they are like trauma for people, man. They're like trauma, man. And it's like, you know, I'm just like, we have to find a way that will, you know, get us past that, to get some sense of normalcy, and then regain our confidence in who we are and what we're created to be.
Right.
And so that's a mind shift, man. That's a mind shift. And you know, I want, when I go and I speak and I tell people about my journey, I'm like, I expose myself in this book because the word tells me my testimony. People will gain strength from my testimony, man. Amen. And he brought me over so I can be an example for others, man. So listen, man, I first of all, I should have said this, man. Thank you guys for having me on, man. I mean,
not an issue.
Jay, man, you've been an inspiration. Man, I love chopping it up with you, man. And
always,
man, you know, I couldn't wait to meet the rest of the crew, man. So Q, hats off to you, my brother, man. King, man. I'm glad to meet you too, man. And listen, you know, I'm just here. I'm here, man, to be an inspiration and try to instill, you know, what we've lost in our community, especially with our young Black males. They, you know, man, especially them, man. Especially them.
Yeah, there's no trying to, you know, you have done it. The inspiration, you know.
You know what?
You've done it, and it's only for our younger kids, you know, would take the initiative to get through these things, get off some of the games, and just, you know, take it in little by little.
Let me point something out. So now I journey state to state, meeting other people in the same podcasting business and different things of that nature. And I'm always on the street. Whatever city I go to, I always end up in the hood. I have to go in the hood. Like, I don't care. I'm in Chicago. I'm telling them, yo, I need to go. They ask me, why you want to go down there? I'm
gonna cut out this dude for a minute. We went to California, man, and this man takes me someplace in California which I don't know. He doesn't know. Driving, I was like, is this that area? Is this that? That's the great. I don't know if something goes down. Where we do?
Listen, and I get out and I holler and yo, what up? And we talk.
Yeah.
And we chop it up and we get the same respect. Because listen, at the end of the day, these are my people. I'm not gonna be afraid of it. Yeah. I need to see it for myself. I'm not gonna watch it on TV. We drove through Watts, Compton, Slauson, all them neighborhoods.
Yeah.
All right. And I ain't have no issue. Because again, I'm not gonna let the television narrate what my people and what love I can get from my people.
Yeah.
To this day, me and a lot of them out there, we still on the phones with each other. They're like, yo, when you coming back? You know what I'm saying? When I go back, I'm gonna be right back in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Because again, right now, the problem with it in society itself, we are in a technology era, and yet still we don't acquire all the knowledge that's around us.
Nah.
In where we're from in Jamaica, going to school is like, it's not like here where kids are cutting school and people are dying to go to school because you need finance to go to school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you will have the knowledge, you will have all the drive in the world, but if your finance is not in check, you're left out.
Right.
So, and then you have a place like the United States where you can go to school for free, but kids are cutting. You know what I'm saying? It's like we said, you never know until you step in the next person's shoes. Someone out there is dying to be in your shoes, and you're just wasting the opportunity. And again, what I find now, social media has us just veering off the highway into a ditch. Maybe we'll end up in a sugar ditch. You know what I'm saying? Because the problem with it right now is as soon as you start to mention anything educational, they start drifting. Now, if I said, did you see the thing on TikTok? Like, oh, yeah, oh, wow. And they're gone. They fail to realize this is programmed.
Yeah. Brainwashed.
Programmed.
Yeah.
Okay? The minute you start to mention anything, like I might say, hey, I need you to read this book. It's called The Boy from the Ditch. This guy trying to get me to learn. What the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And that goes for male and females.
Yep.
And it don't matter what age nowadays. Before you could say these young kids, no. I've seen it from some people our age and older as well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's all because of mass media. So it's like I explained to someone before, the creators that created all these different platforms, they don't let their kids go deep into it. Yeah. But yet still you're brainwashed by it.
Nah, man. In fact, in China, you know, they were just talking about a study or a story. Man, I think I was listening to this about a month ago. There's just certain things that they don't even allow over there, like the TikTok. There's a what we call that grid search or wherever.
The algorithm.
Algorithm. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So there's certain things they don't even allow over there. Like it's just all educational, fun things, but the algorithm over here, oh man, it's fights, different things like that. It's just crazy, and it feeds what's happening in the community, man. And it's dumbing down our kids, bro. It's dumbing down our kids, man. And I'm like, you know, we have to stand up as parents, leaders in our community, head of our houses. We have to set the bar on how things are. And man, if we don't, we're gonna lose a whole generation. Yeah, man.
So, speaking on that now, and going back into the book, your journey. I'm gonna pick out certain little pieces that I found very interesting for me.
Okay.
That I found relatable for myself because I was in the same situation in my own little way.
But not in the ditch.
But yeah, no ditch. I didn't have the ditch. I didn't have the sugar ditch. You know, and you know what? And later on at the end, I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit more because you were being very nice on what the ditch really is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
This video I'm gonna send you. The video I'm gonna send you. She calls it just like it is. She said it's a. Can I say it?
You can say it.
It's a shit ditch. That's what she called it.
But they make it as sweet and sugary. Nah. So that's why they retermed it the sugar ditch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right. Right. You understand? And when you said it, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna say that right now because he think he's slick. He's sliding over it, but I'm gonna let him do it at the end. But yeah, people gotta visually see that.
Yep.
You're living in a house where plumbing wise, your waste is not something that is being flushed. It's something that's being tossed.
Wow.
You understand? And people have to really get a grasp on that and understand in order to fully dive into the book to understand where all the dots start to connect. Because when we talk about you journeying out from home and going into college life and understanding your journey leaving the nest and starting, all those things prior are going with you. Mm-hmm. And the journey now into going into school and having to function to be that straight A student and still have to think back on everyone that you left behind still follows you.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna point little things out, and then I'm gonna let you elaborate on these little things that I found very interesting for myself. All right.
Okay.
So within the book, I found that the driving force for people of poverty is to better themselves and the situation for their parents. That was a driving force for you. Can you elaborate on that piece for me, please?
All right. So that was what I would call my why. That's my why. Um, okay. So I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. We can go back and hit the beginning, but I want to answer that right there. So when I was about 14, going on 15, my mom took ill. By this time, my dad had been passed away for years, to the point her kidney started to fail. Tunica, Mississippi did not have a dialysis unit for her, so they had to go to the nearby city, which was Memphis, Tennessee. Repping a little Memphis today, but it's Memphis, Tennessee. The thing is, my mom and dad, when they was able to get off the ditch, they had this house that they had purchased. It was for low income people, and that was her first home ownership of her own. Paying to own a house, it meant the world. She did not want to leave. I never understood why my mom didn't want to move to Memphis until later. My mom didn't like the city. Okay. And come to find out later, my mom had two brothers, and they moved to Chicago. And one was murdered, and she said both was murdered, but I'm later finding out the other one died due to drug addiction. But she felt like it was the city that killed him. So the other one was actually murdered, like stabbed to death. She was afraid of the city. She didn't like the city. It took her brothers. So she didn't like the city. She didn't want to move to Memphis, but she had no choice. She moved to Memphis, and, I'm the youngest. I'm about 15 at this time, and my mom decided to let my older brother house sit. You pay the rent. You pay us rent for the mortgage, and, I'll let you stay. And we found a house to rent up in Memphis, and we moved there. And my brother had an alcohol problem. He drank all the time, man, like constantly. I witnessed, he's come home drunk on the weekend, every weekend. I witnessed a lot of stuff, man. Him coming home with being beat up by prostitutes, being, people knocking on our door, telling my mom he's in the car drunk on the side of a road with the car running. Just all kinds of things.
Wow.
So I didn't think this was a good idea. But once again, when you're the youngest, your voice is not really being heard by the older siblings. And so he basically didn't pay the rent, didn't pay the mom rent so she could pay the mortgage. Right. And he didn't say anything to us. So I had another brother, that was under him. He went by and checked on him, and basically he would check, and he went by there. The house was open, like door open. People had went in, took sinks, just basically kind of stripped the joint. Come to find out, the older brother had moved out, didn't say anything to nobody. Mom get a notice. They finally found her in Memphis, and peep this, man. Peep this, man. It was $800 to catch up on the mortgage. I remember this because I was sitting in the room while they were discussing this. My mom was asking the older siblings if they could do this, get her, get up to $800 so she can save the house. She was like, my husband and I got this house and want to stay in the family. Right. And the siblings got to talking. So one sister was like, I'll do it, but you need to sign over the house to me. Oh. She was like, like, this is our house. This is our new house. Like, well, so she didn't do it. And so the rest of them, it's like no one could come up with that money. Right. And I'm thinking, to me, now I'm like, man, $800. Come on, that ain't. I look, I'm not rich, man. I don't have a lot of money, but when it comes to something like this, dude,
Yeah.
I can spit out 800.
Yeah, if you pull together as a unit.
And then you pull together as a unit, we should do that, no problem.
Right.
When it's like 12 of you guys, well, don't count me and my sister. My sister was away at college. She was really young. And don't count me, I'm 15. But it's 10 of you. That's 80. That's $80 a piece.
Yep.
So long story short, she lost the house.
Man.
And I witnessed my mom sit there and cry like a baby because she had, to me, I feel like she was losing the will to live. Right. That was the only thing she had, and have my father's that was left was that home together. And she lost it. And when you're a 15-year-old son, a young king, and your mother is crying helplessly, man, it does something on the inside of you, bro. And so for me, I was like, with all my might, with all my strength, I'm going to do whatever I can to pull myself up because I'm going to restore that for her.
Right.
She knew it because I told her. To the point, man, when my mom was going to pass away, she was getting ill, sicker and sicker. And I was like, no, you got to hold on because at this time I'm in college. I'm about to graduate. And all this in my mind is I'm going to buy you your house again. I'm getting that house. And she had to pull me to the side one day and tell me, she said, no. I was like, Mom. She's like, no, Dennis, you cannot. She said, I want you to do this thing and be successful for you. Don't worry about money. And I was like, this is my why. Like, this is what I'm like, this is my whole motivation. I went to college coming out of high school with a 1.97 GPA. If you don't know what that means, that's a D. That's a D. And the reason I tell people this is because it wasn't that I was unintelligent. I was a quick learner. It was what was happening in my house.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus. When you got a sister that was supposed to be there taking care of your mom, she's a heavy alcoholic. She have 2 kids that she's really not tending to. And so you have to step in as 16, 17-year-old trying to help raise kids. And then you have a brother with disabilities, handicapped brother at the house that, that needs some guidance as well. And then your mom is sick. And then your brother decides that he's going to turn to drugs and become addicted to crack. That's a lot going on in your house.
It's a lot.
And so what do you do to stay focused? And I basically had to let my counselors know at my schools. I was like, listen, homework is a no-go for me. It's nothing going to get done in that house because this is what the chaos I'm living in. Right. And when I told them, man, dude, man, you should have saw the look on their faces. They was like, I can't believe this kid is going through this. And I was a quiet kid growing up. Like at school, I was really quiet. I didn't cause no ruckus. And they noticed that. They was like, it's something different about him. And we need to know what's happening. And when I finally opened up to them and told them, they was like, oh my God. They was like, I don't care what happened. We're going to get you out of high school. Now, I don't think they were thinking this guy's going to go to college, but because of the grades. But what they didn't understand is I was highly intelligent. It's just circumstances will make anything seem slanted.
Yeah, I love to say, but God.
But God, my brother. But God.
See, this is the reason why I'm setting it up like this. The reason why I asked it that way is so now we can kind of moonwalk backwards and let everyone know now, like you said, you're the youngest of 12 kids. So that I want them to visualize that portion of it and understand now, moving backwards again. I'm going to let you tell it now as far as the siblings and your parents and things that happened with your father and how that also played a role in everything also. So there's a reason why I'm doing it like how I'm doing it right now.
No doubt.
But I'm going to let you tell that portion of it. We heard the situation as far as your mental capacity, as far as worrying about your mother.
Definitely.
And knowing that your siblings are not stepping up. Because there's a lot of kids and a lot of people, it's relatable. And I think that's a regular thing in most families. I know I had it in my family. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I said the book was so relatable to me, because while reading it, I'm like, oh, this parts of this. Yeah, I can put that chess piece over there. That's like my situation, and you know, and stuff like that. So I'm going to let you tell now, because again, for young men and young Black men, this next portion here is what I wanted to kind of hone in on. With the absence of your father, even though you have your mother and you have older siblings, and even though the siblings are not stepping up the way they should as an older guidance, you had to basically teach yourself. And you made reference also that you think that you made many mistakes because your father, and I found that interesting, even though you're one of your older sister that was in college gave you a pep talk at one point. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm doing, I want people to go out there and read the book. That's why I'm not giving you all the gems, but your sister gave you a pep talk until you step it up. But even with that, this is a relatable thing in the Black household when we refer to the fact that Black fathers are missing. And whether it be that they are missing on their own, they're missing through welfare, you know, something back in the 70s, and or it's the fact that we don't need a man. Whatever category. But to just remind people that how important it is to have the male, not only for the male son, but for the female daughters as well. We play a vital role. So I'm going to let you explain that portion right there, how your father's absence still steered you in different directions.
And even to this moment, I can see the passion for family. I can see the passion at this moment.
Still
for family and your mom.
Yeah.
I can still see that.
Mercy. Hey, so okay. I want to create this picture, so I want people to really understand why. You know, I tease with my wife because she was a little bothered by this, because I was out of town and someone was like, "Oh, you wrote a book?" It's like, "About what?" And I said, "It's my story." And it's like, "What makes you so special?" That's what the lady said to me.
Wow.
And I smiled. And I was like, "You just don't know." So let me say it like this. My mom was 42 years of age when I was born. My dad was 69 years of age when I was born. So I was born to older parents. Even though my mom had 11 kids that was alive, she actually had 3 others. One was a stillborn and 2 miscarriages. So she used to always count all of her kids. Right. She also had diabetes when she was carrying me. She was ill a lot, to the point, and then I'm going to the beginning of the story now, to the point that doctors was like, Vicky, you're not going to carry this child full term. It will be a miscarriage. Right. My mom told me about praying over me in her womb. And 9 months later, I was born. She said that the same doctors told her, "Oh man, this is the healthiest kid you ever had."
Bro.
And it wasn't a preemie.
No preemie. No preemie. And
miracles.
The crazy thing about it is my sister that was born right before me, the knee baby, she was a preemie.
Wow.
So now you come in with this kid and you're older and sick now with diabetes. They're saying, "Oh, you're not going to even have this kid," and he becomes the healthiest kid you've had. She told me that story over and over to where I never forgot it.
Right.
I had my mom and dad for the first 3 years of my life. My dad, and about 3.5 years after that, my dad passes away. I At a young age, I could tell the shift in the house was off.
Right.
And I don't think young people really understand that parenting a kid, it's serious business, and it takes two. Well, it takes two to make the kid.
Right.
It takes two to raise the kid and a village.
Right.
And this notion that I can do it all by myself is foolishness.
Right.
In fact, I believe it's a plant from the devil himself, because your kid grows up imbalance. Would you drive down the street on two tires and then the other one's just rims? No. Eventually you're gonna jack the car up. Am I right?
Right.
You
Right.
won't do that. And so my dad, it created an imbalance, and things started to pop off in the house to the point it was happening with my older siblings first. And I'm like, I felt like I was in the movie theater and I had a front row seat to the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I had to write it, because I witnessed it.
Right.
My sister almost died. I told the story about that, how because she decided to be delinquent, disobey mom, hitchhike, got kidnapped, her and a friend. Wow. He tried to lure them to a field. I don't know what he was planning to do with them, but you can imagine. Right. They get away from it because my sister was an athlete. They both were. They played high school basketball. They were athletes. They got away, but pow! He shot at them as they were trying to get away. He didn't hit them. God's grace.
Right.
But it didn't stop. It kept going. Her, my brother, another brother, sister. It was like going back and forth. There are lots of things happening in the house, and I know that those things started to happen when my father was missing. I learned that the father figure is very, very vital to our household. Right. I'm no preacher. I'm not going to try to pretend I'm a preacher, even though I studied it.
I thought I left out that out in the I thought I left that out.
I'm about to say, go ahead, preach.
But check it. The man was created to be the head of the house spiritually. You have to lead by example. You have to lead by instructions. And men, we get our instruction from the word of God. That's the way he talks to us and our communication with him. And then we are supposed to lead our families. When we don't do that, it created an imbalance. And then when you have men that just do even worse and just say the hell with it and walk away and leave it, it creates more chaos. Because then the woman is left there by herself to do this and take care of things. And it's like, oh, if I was able to get food on the table and and he was able to grow up and get out of high school, I made it. I did it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't need him. That's a lie. And you're believing that lie, because what you don't understand is what it did to that kid. He knows nothing about being a man. He knows nothing about manly things. He knows nothing about being a head of a house. And somewhere in his future, he's about to go lay with a woman, create the same thing, and continue that cycle because of ignorance. Right. Yeah. We got to break that cycle, man.
Definitely.
I had to learn things by trial and error, man. I made some mistakes. I did some things I shouldn't have done. I was bullied in school. I didn't tell my family, because in my little 8-year-old mind, if I tell them, my brother and my big sister gonna come beat them up, and then they're gonna go back. And when I show up to class the next day, I'm gonna get beat up. That's the way my 8-year-old mind thought. And so I didn't say anything. So we kept getting beat. Girls was getting assaulted sexually. There was a lot going on in class. And so years passed, even though the police finally got involved a year later, And years passed, we ended up moving to Memphis. A similar situation stirred. And I was, at this time, I'm a teenager, and I'm like, nah, not no more. So I made a crazy mistake, and I took a gun to school. Because I'm like, nah, I'm not, I'm not going down that road. For a minute, the devil thought he had it, but God said no. I never took it into school. I left it in the car. I lied to my sister. She was able to give me one of my older sisters. I gave her some story, and she said, "I'm gonna let you drive today." And I drove the car to school, kept the gun in the car. Almost got caught with it, because of the crazy guy I was with.
Right.
I should have told him I had it. And when he, guys get bold when they got that thing, and it's like, oh man, what? Give me that gun. I'm like, shut up. Don't tell people. What are you doing? So now the cop running down there, teachers are running down there because the crowd is gathering around, and I split. And man, I was like, man, God, thank you for getting me out of that. I don't even know why I did that, but hindsight, as I got older and more mature, I learned that it was fight or flight for me. And I was like, I'm tired of running. So that was my immaturity standing up for myself, but don't know how to do it in the right way.
Right.
And so once again, those are mistakes you learning from, like, that's not how you be a man. That's not how you take care of business. There's a way you can stand up for yourself without putting yourself in a situation to where your life can be snatched away from you and you locked up, or whatever, or taking somebody else's life. A lot of things I learned, but I think the biggest lesson is, and I'm gonna say this, I have to say this because I don't think I really elaborated on it in the book. Women, older siblings especially, but just women in general, really need to be careful in how they use, how they verbalize their relationships in the presence of a young king. Because if he's listening to what you're talking about with your relationships, and I sat under my sisters and I listened to their bad relationships and how this has happened, and how this has happened, and how that happened to them, I'm formulating an opinion about who I am. And what they did was, I got a slanted view, misconstrued stories, and a slanted opinion. And I used that information to create a guy to try to appease what they was putting out. And what that did was, it did not prepare me to have a healthy relationship.
That's it.
You do not want to grow up thinking that your job is to please every woman's desire and request. But in your mindset, you listen to your sister, you're like, I don't want to be that dude. I don't want to be that dude. I want to make her happy. This seemed to make her happy, but that was not realistic. And the thing is, I'm sitting under that and I'm like, wow, that almost destroyed me. Like, having a healthy relationship was something I had to relearn how to do. Because listening to that, I didn't know who I was and my place in this world. And the thing is, I'm like, these young kings, that's their deal. Oh, I got to get that bag because why? This is what they want. So I want to give them what they want. That is not being a man. It is not your job to give a woman everything they want. Sometimes they don't even know what they want. It's not good.
Facts.
You have to be level-headed. You got to learn how to interact in relationships. You got to learn how, and understand this thing is a 50-50. You guys are going to be partners. Partners. It's not about what you're going to be doing for her. It's about how you guys are going to take care of each other
together.
So, man, I'm telling you, it's some things I had to learn, John and Q, man. And I'm like, I'm glad I had the opportunity to, and I'm glad that God paused and grazed over my mistakes and did not allow me to have children until I was ready.
Right.
Because it's one thing when you come to yourself and you have to teach your kids, man, but it's another thing when they've seen you do this and then you make that change to do that. It confuses them, and all of a sudden now you have to backwalk all of that and you have to reteach them, and some of the kids don't take it that well.
Right.
And so I was just blessed not to have to do much of that the kids caught me on the end to where I'm able to walk the walk, talk the talk, and pray the prayers, man, so they can see daddy at work. And that's the goal, man. You gotta be an example for your house first.
Yeah.
After that, you can let your light shine in the world, bro. I hope I hit the point, man. I hope
you got the point, man. Well, there was something also that I found very interesting in it, and I said I was going to ask you it, and it pertained to what you just explained right there, because there's a portion in the book also about a disappointment with, like you said, from females. There were two, C and then TV, right? So, and what I would say with that now is that
make me scratch the head over there.
I put a smiley face on that question. Yeah. I put a smiley face in that.
No, I'm not going. Hey, I'm a, I'm gonna hit it.
I hear you.
I said, listen. So I found it interesting because I know there was some disappointments within the relationship as far as the support system. What I found from that is, for me talking to some young men sometime, and one of our co-hosts, Madness, he says it on the show all the time, like, for a lot of guys, you need to get yourself situated.
Find yourself.
Like, get yourself situated first. Find yourself. Get your finances in order first. Get all these things in a row before you start on that journey. Because unfortunately, right now, you go out there, and especially right now in the time that we're in, it's a spiritual warfare. That's all I have to say. It's wicked out here right now. Okay, because everything right now is on a monetary situation.
For
it's
sure.
about this falsified bag.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, everyone wants this so-called bag.
Yeah. What you just spoke about.
You understand? In the drive, and it's like you said, the support mechanism that you would have had from those individuals could drive you to get the bag.
Yeah, I know.
But see, they want the bag now.
Yeah, I know the C wasn't for Christ. So
nah,
that's what I wanted to know. I know he's a man of God, but the C wasn't for Christ. So
but we spoke about this last night, and I referred to a thing that I term as the microwave portion of life. Ooh. And me, I like the stove life.
No doubt.
Understand? And I try to explain to a lot of females out here that, listen, you can get the bag if the two of you work together and get the bag. The problem with it, you want the bag, and then you want him to go get the bag, and then when he's not at home, you complain that he's out too much getting the bag, and then it's always going to be something. But if the two of you work together, hand in hand, we can all enjoy the bag. How about that? That way, I don't have to die earlier than you, because all I've been doing is working the bag for you. And then when I die, you bring another dude in to share the bag with. No, you know what I'm saying? So don't worry about the microwave life, the hurry come up, the here and now, the Luther Vandross. You know what I'm saying? You need to get the stove life. When you pull that meal off the stove, it can sit out there and it won't get cold like that. Let's work together.
Yes, sir.
And I found it very interesting when you mentioned it, because again, I looked at it and said, that's one of the problems that we have in our community, is the support mechanism. Even for these little things that we're doing, the podcast, your book, different things of that nature, you find that in other neighborhoods, the support mechanism is there. So you're going to find them flourishing. But for us, it's always that uphill battle, that avalanche that keep coming down on us. And it's always those, like you said, it's not the fact that you didn't know the lesson. or you're slower than any other person out there or anything like that. But it's all the different monkeys on your back that you have to carry. And a lot of black young men and women out here have to carry all this extra baggage. But if we had the support mechanism from our community, our friends, our family, you know how many Martin Luthers, Malcolm X, how many, Michelle Obamas and Oprah Winfrey's and
they're still here,
you
but
can, No, but I'm just saying.
But the motivation is not.
There's many of them in our community.
Yeah.
But because of all these different obstacles, some of them, they just give up. And I know you went through a point where you were at that point where you gave up and then you came back. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. And I found, that's why I said your book is very relatable in the sense of our day-to-day struggles, the day-to-day things. I would encourage anyone out there, pick up the book. Pick up the book. Because while I'm reading it, I'm sitting there and it's like I'm seeing certain things. You spoke about it, and I know Oakwood is like your saving grace.
Yeah.
I went through it at a point, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was. At this time, we was in Memphis, Tennessee, and there was so much, like I told you, what was going on in high school, but just the home life outside of family. We came home one night. I think I just mentioned this in the book. The police is all around our house, yellow tape everywhere. Come to find out, somebody got shot, ran through our driveway, dropped dead in our backyard. Thank God we wasn't at home that night. I didn't even want to witness that or see that, but it's just the fact that, I just wanted to be out the city. So when I got to Oakwood, it was so quiet, so peaceful. Man, it was such a serene campus, man. It was like I had gone to a different planet, man. I couldn't believe it. And it was so peaceful, man. It was just unbelievable, to the point I loved it there. And people didn't understand. Even though I was happy and I was, in this place where I was learning to get used to my environment mentally, I was still torn because I knew I left a sick mom back in Memphis. With all the problems that I left at that house was still there with my brothers and my sister. And that weighed on me and put a little pressure on me to take care of my business in school. So Oakwood was definitely a good change up and a good place for me while I was trying to work through all I was working through. But once again, I wasn't ready to deal with the opposite sex, not maturation wise, because you have a high school kid that all he did was stay at home, helped his mom because she was ill, because, like I told you, when she broke down about losing the house, I know my dad was gone. No older brother stayed there, but my brother that had a, mental,
disability.
Yeah, disability. I felt like I had to be the man. And there were times, man, we were low on food. I would get out and go hustle, not breaking any laws, but just like making contacts with people that I knew. What if it was a pastor here, somebody there, get a few dollars, man, and I would go buy some food and take to the house. And my mom was like, where you get this from? And I'd be like, don't worry about it. We needed food, and I came through, and I'm blessed to have people to help me out. And I mean, not only would I come home and cook it.
Right.
And what a lot of people didn't know, my dad was like a really, really good cook, man. He was his nickname was Stovepipe. That's dope. Like, that's an old Mississippi thing right there. That's how good he was, though. But so I mean, I could learn quickly how to just cook, man, just different things. And so I think I reminded my mom of my dad, because she just make these odd requests. Can you go cook? I want you to cook some oatmeal, or go cook this for me, or go. And I just be like, really? And my sister be like, Mom, I can do that for you. And she'd be like, no, I want him to do it. And I was her, what I guess her, that one child that made sure that she was okay. And so when I went off to school, once again, she that threw her. And so, but anyway, I'll tell you about the C. I'll tell you about the C and the TB. So yeah, that mentality about my sister, man, where listening to my sister and them talk about their problems and with dudes and men, and I'm trying to find who I am, because once again, when you have a little son growing up in a house and his father's gone at 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is that pivotal year. 13 is where they start to find out who they are.
Right.
And there was no one that dared to tell me or show me. So I'm searching.
Right.
And so I'm thinking in my head, just do what my sister wanted me to do, like wanted their man to do. Be that. And that's not it. And so I'm trying to please this girl, and all she sees is a pushover. I mean, to the point where she's verbally abusive. She's talking crazy to me. Why are you wearing that? What is that? I can't believe you don't have no clothes. I mean, just like, and I'm just, I'm responding like, what? What's wrong with this? My wife, my wife could look at me now and be like, where did that dude go? Because that's not how I would respond now. Like, but I'm like, but I went through that, and I didn't really know how to process emotions. To the point where she actually was the one broke off with me after she was cheating on me. But some things are happening to you. It might be a little painful when it happens, but it's the best thing for you. And so, but I still didn't learn. And so I moved on to this other girl, the TP. That was a little bit later, or TV, I should say. TV, and this is even crazy because this girl was PK. She was a PK, and it's very interesting. There was a lot of manipulation going on mentally there, within and emotionally, to the point where I gave up my car one time to her. She was like, and I almost said it. She was in another city. She's in another city, and I took my car down there and left with her while I'm back hitchhiking a ride until I figure out what's going on with me. Yeah, man. Right. And I tell my sons, I was like, these are stories that you would never do because I won't let you. I'm like, I will not let you. But just to show you how I've been raising my boys, they looking like, Dad, really? I was like, yeah, well, that's the old dad. That dude just does not exist anymore. And so, but I finally got the courage, and it's almost like the prodigal man. I had to come to myself. So, but I took back my place, man, and stood up, and it's almost like it shocked her because she wasn't used to seeing that guy. And even though I still wasn't quite where I needed to be, but I was making progress. And the thing about it is, I tell people all the time, this balance is what creates stability in young kids, man, even emotionally, physically, and spiritually, man. The balance of that two parents being on the same page, okay, being equally yoked in things, not just spiritual things, but physical things, financial things, how to run your house, being on the same page. That's what creates stability in children. And then when they grow up, they are much more balanced individual. when you're trying to do things yourself,
it's tough.
It's gonna be off.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So, all right, in closing, now there's a thing that I plucked out from the book, and I think it best describes, like you said, it doesn't matter the start, it's the ending. Okay. So there was a portion in there where it said, I felt like the devil was trying to stop me from my goal. And I'm glad that you put God in front of it to make sure he did not succeed at stopping you from your goal. So let the audience know all your accolades and all the different degrees and the levels of where you came from and where you're at now and what you have in store for the future endeavors that you have in front of you. And then also we'll plug the book one more time, and any sites or any social media plugs that you needed for them to get in contact with you or anything of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say something. Maybe we should we're gonna see him again.
Oh yeah.
So
we've done this chopping up all the time.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the manifestation of God.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, listen, I'll get you back on for that.
Yeah.
I'll get you back on for that. Not a problem. It's not the last time we're gonna see you, so it's good.
Yeah.
For sure.
But just let them know the different levels. Okay.
All right. Man, I'll say so. I'll start with, first of all, I start with the educational part. Like I told you, I went away to college with 1.9 GPA or 9.7. And I was able to graduate from college, man, with a thank you, Lordy degree. I didn't graduate magna cum laude, but thank you, Lordy. I had like a 2.3 GPA, and I got out of college, but I was turning the page. My mom passed away when I graduated college, and it hurt me to the core because I wanted to give her her flowers while she lived. I wanted to give her home back. But it also motivated me, and it began, my why was still her, but it was a different perspective now. So I worked hard and went to graduate school, and because it was a 2.3 GPA, I got in on probationary status, but my first semester I scored 4.0 all A's. And from then I didn't look back. I ended up graduating with like a 3.1 with a master's degree. And I started to work. I still have some things I was figuring out, but I started to work and move. But I went through a bad situation with a bad marriage when I stepped in front of God. And I think that was my final straw. So I was like, I got to listen to the things of God in all things, even in my personal life, in my personal situation, personal relationships with women and with people. And that's when life really just took a toll and turned for the better. I got out of that situation, and I had a son in that situation, and I was able to get joint custody. And because I refused to leave my child behind in an imbalanced situation. But man, I'm telling you, I did a lot of praying at that time, and I felt like God was like, it's time. So I met my wife, Dr. Tanae Turner. That's my wife. And man, that was my dream. That's my dream.
Great.
And when I met her, man, it was on and popping. And she's the one that really encouraged me to write my story. I was in a doctoral program, and I had some problems with the school I was in. And so I was challenging them on something specific, and I felt like I was being discriminated against. It was a predominantly white school. And she was like, listen, this is time. You need to get that story out. And then she encouraged me to write it. And man, when I wrote my story, I prayed every night before I started writing. And you need to understand, man, all this inspiration, everything I told you, it's true. But man, it's the Spirit of the Lord that was talking to me, bro, because some things I couldn't even stomach. I broke down numerous of times writing this book. But that wasn't the hurt part about it. The hurt part about it is when I released it, I was so excited. It got media attention right away in Memphis. I was on a national network and 3ABN. But my family, man, they didn't support it. You know, they even said things that was not true, and oh, he's embellished, and oh, he's this, and I'm like, what? And I mean, it hurt me. It hurt me to the core. But what that hurt did is it fueled me, man. It fueled me to the point I stepped outside of after I finished writing the book. I started writing my just feelings and writing songs. So I produced like 3 albums.
Right.
3 albums, and they all released on a music company that I started called Turtle Nation Music. So my you can go to my site. It's turtlenationministries.com. People can go there and listen to those albums. My book is there, and my next book I'm about to start writing in about 6 months. It's going to be dealing with fatherless fathers, and it's going to be dealing mainly with how fatherless fathers grow up and how they are parenting now. And going to deal with some of the issues with kids and what's going on in this generation. And I'm excited because I got a PhD.
Good.
Honorary doctorate PhD in humanitarianism that I'm receiving in December. I'm also getting an award from the President of the United States and Vice President Kamala Harris. I'll be getting that award next weekend in Houston, Texas.
Woo!
Man,
my invite.
God is good,
man. God is not done with you, man.
No, it's not. I have I'm working on my EDD doctorate degree in sports and athletic management, and I will be finishing that in the spring of this coming year. So I'll be finished with that as well. The things we're about to get ready to do, man, I'm gonna take a break from the family for a year, and I'm going to team up with my son and a couple of other friends. We're gonna release a all males group album, and then the following year we'll get back with Turtle Nation. We're gonna produce a Christmas album. And so those are some of the things we're doing. The hope and dream is to get eyes on this book and the story. I have a publicist that's been working really hard. The end goal, because we know people are just not reading, and we want to use this media thing that they're on all the time, and we want to get this word out. And the goal is we want to turn this book into a movie, and that is going to be my end game with this book. And I would like to see that, and that's the goal, man. That's what we're working towards. And so I just want to say, hey, man, I appreciate you guys. I really do, man. I appreciate
it's all love.
So John, you got your book signed up?
Got my book signed already. Right. I'm gonna stop folding the page. You know what I'm saying? Now that I read it, it's going up on the mantle. Stay right there after that.
All
you
love,
know what I mean?
All love, baby. It's all love.
Listen, man, this is an inspiration, and again, however we can help on the media portion of things, just let me know. The thing with it right now, that I'm proud of you, and this was to show all the younger kids out there, like, look, you can do it. You can do it. You understand? You can do it. He came from Sugar Ditch, and now he's doing all these amazing things. Yeah. Okay, and I'm proud of you. And I was going to say, your wife is a very lucky woman, because I see the passion you have for your mother, and they always tell you, you can judge it from that, how you're going to get treated.
No doubt.
So,
no doubt, man. That's my jewel. That's my jewel, man.
Regardless of your journey, man, I'm proud of you. Me and you are family. Me and you always chop it up. We can continue to chop it up. And next week, man, knock it out. I'm proud of you. Whatever links you can give, whatever streaming, if they do have it, send it to me.
Man. My handle.
Chop it up. We'll do what we got to do on our end for you.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. My handle on Instagram is TurtleNation32. Turtle Nation is my company name. I'm on the book, Facebook, Dennis Turner, Turtle Nation Family. I have a number of Facebook pages. The Boy from the Ditch, Turtle Nation Ministries. But my website is turtlenationministries.com, man. And people can they can contact me through that site for bookings or whatever to speak. And I still do speaking engagements. I still do singing engagements. It's just I've been working hard on this doctorate degrees, man. So I took a little bit of hiatus, but I'm getting ready to get back into things, man. And I just appreciate the platform, man. Iron sharpening iron, man. I always remember that. Iron sharpening
all day,
iron.
family, all day,
So,
all day.
Man, you guys, man, you know, having these podcasts, man, I love it, man. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Each time you talk, I see we're missing out on the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
You're a singer also.
Yeah.
I missed out that one too. You keep going, man.
So I said, how can you listen, man? Kudos to you. And listen, like I told you, man, anytime you ready, you know you got the number. Me and you always go chop it up. Me and you, we always talk when I'm out of town and all that stuff all the time anyway. But aside from that,
yo, John, you know my in-laws stay in Miami, so when I get down there again, I'm gonna hit you up, bro.
It's a done deal.
I'm gonna hit
it's
you
a done
up.
deal.
Yes,
it's a done deal.
Yeah.
But like I said,
visit them.
I'm encouraging everyone out there, go and get the book. It's available on Amazon and like you said, turtlenation.com. You can find it there.
Yeah.
If you need to and you can't get anything here, you know how to contact us live at the barbershop. Okay. So either way, you can find it. But please, I encourage you. It's a great read, and you're supporting another brother. That's overall, you're supporting the brother, man. Just support the brother, man. All right.
Yo, so make sure you check that text message out, man. I sent you the link to the 60 Minutes official video.
Oh,
you're gonna see those real footages of Sugar Dish, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a real time, a live situation of watching it and have our reactions while we're watching it. I'm gonna do that and post that.
Word up.
I'm definitely gonna do that. Okay, so by this weekend, me and Q, we gonna watch it. We be like,
I see the logo.
You know what I'm saying?
The turtle.
Yeah, Turtle Nation.
Yes,
Turtle Nation right there.
I see I just ripped. That's what it is.
You know what I'm saying? So listen, for all the audience out there, one more time, the boy from the ditch, the author Dennis Turner, our family, our friend, go support the brother, man. It's available on Amazon. Mr. Turner, God bless. And like I'm telling everybody out there, go out in the world and be somebody. You heard? All right. Live at the barbershop every Friday nights, 9 p.m. Thank you very much. On all the platforms, please hit the subscription button and the notification bell, please. Thank you very much. God bless. Support brothers, support Black, and just go out in the world and please be somebody. Thank you very much. God bless everyone.
Go out in the world and be somebody.